Kyle Kondik is the managing editor of Sabato's Crystal Ball at the University of Virginia Center for Politics. And this is going to take place in the Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland that can hold 20,000, like when LeBron James is playing basketball. But it's only going to be about 4,000 people, I guess. I think, seems to me, that they could fill the place. Maybe they don't want it to be more of a circus than it already is. After all, the viewership, some people think, could be 6 to 10 million for a political TV show, not an episode of The Apprentice. Kyle, thanks for being available. Welcome back to the program.
Hey, no problem.
Could somebody knock themselves out of the tournament on Thursday night?
If they make a mistake bad enough, yeah. I mean, I think that, no one's going to, win the nomination at the first debate, and, probably, I think the likeliest outcome is that it actually doesn't really matter all that much, what happens in the debate. But, if a candidate makes a mistake bad enough, and it's kind of hard to predict in advance who that might be or what that person might say, but yeah, I mean, I think that you can do considerable harm to your credibility, even though in a short amount of time, the candidates themselves are probably only going to get about 10 minutes of airtime to themselves, if that, because it's 2-hour debate, but there's commercials, and there are going to be 10 candidates on stage, and some candidates, particularly Donald Trump, are probably going to get more time than others.
The ones that come to mind, the two things that come to mind, obviously, are here in Michigan. It was Governor Rick Perry, who won't be in the primetime debate, stumbled over his own ideas and couldn't name the departments of government that he was going to eliminate. That knocked him right out of the deal, I think. And if you remember, George W. got curveballs when he was running for president, when he sat down in an interview and somebody said, can you name the leader of, I forget which, it was Korea maybe or something like that. And he stumbled and bumbled and tried to work around it and so forth. That didn't eliminate him, but it did embarrass him. Isn't Donald Trump ripe for something like that, just ripe for the picking?
Yeah, certainly, and this is going to be a new experience for him. I mean, obviously Trump has been on television many times before, and is a nationally known person, but this is really the first big political event he's going to be in as a candidate, and I do think that the other, if not the other candidates, certainly the moderators are going to try to trip him up. You're going back to Perry. You mentioned his famous "oops" moment. There was actually a moment about a month and a half earlier than that arguably was even more damaging to his candidacy, when he defended what's called the Texas Dream Act, and basically said that critics of that particular policy were heartless. And he was leading the field at that point, and that contributed to pretty significant fall for him, to the point where when he made the oops remark, it was really just kind of the nail in the coffin.
We go back, of course, in Michigan to Gerald Ford and his debate against Jimmy Carter, saying that Poland is not under Soviet domination. And people begin to wonder, does he have a grasp of the facts here or not? So I guess these sorts of things could happen. But for the most part, it's going to be almost like a parade, isn't it? Like a beauty contest?
Yeah, I mean, particularly this. We've got this is the first debate. There are going to be the final number is not set, but there are probably going to be at least 10 Republican primary debates, which actually would be a lot lower than recent cycles, when there was more like 20. But there's still going to be a lot of these debates. The candidates, I think, are still going to basically try to be a little bit cautious as they sort of figure out the nuances of the debates. And then as the election gets the primary season, which starts tentatively February 1st, as that gets closer, I think you might see the candidates open up some more, as they also identify who they need to attack prior to when the voting starts.
So there's no need to hit a home run or throw a Hail Mary pass tonight, then, or is there? Depending
I don't
who
think
you are,
so.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I think that all of these candidates have places where they want to compete and areas where they think they can grow. I just don't see I don't see the urgency necessarily. And I think a lot of the candidates probably believe that this Trump bubble is going to burst, and maybe this debate will contribute to that. But it's hard for a lot of the candidates to maneuver right now because Trump is just taking up so much attention. And maybe that continues on for many more months, or maybe it doesn't.
If you look into the crystal ball, is Donald Trump there when we reach the Michigan primary next March?
It would not shock me, honestly, if Trump wasn't around when the voting started. Yeah. Now, it seems kind of hard to say that about the guy who's basically led every poll nationally and of the states that have come out recently. But I want to see it sustained over a long period of time. I'm assuming there's plenty of opposition research that the candidates can start throwing out there on Trump if they decide that they need to start attacking him with paid media and what have you. So he shot up like a rocket, and I think those numbers could go away real fast too.
I just wonder if he really wants to work that hard, because I think people underestimate it. It looks glamorous, it's expensive, and it's grueling, right? I mean, why would a rich guy like that want to go through all that?
Particularly because he's not really raising any money on his own, and so whatever he spends is going to come from his own coffers. And the guy does have a lot of money, but does he really want it? Does he just like the attention? I don't know. I guess I still find it hard to take seriously, even though the numbers are what they are at this point on the Republican primary side.
Well, he's getting so much free media anyway, and to your point, when does the media become disenchanted and bored with him? That's kind of how it works, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, the polls right now are like don't have a lot of meaning. I guess the one thing that's been surprising is that one observation that I was making and many others were making before Trump got in is that it's hard to take this guy seriously because his favorability numbers are so poor.
Yeah, kind of like Secretary Clinton too. Kyle Kondik, we